that everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Our world right now, we
Mm-hmm.
deal with it all the time in news, but
Right.
it's kind of chaotic. It's a little
Yeah.
bit of a mess. You could
Mm-hmm.
look at things and you might think, like, you look at all this crazy, the evil that's coming out in this
Mm-hmm.
Epstein stuff, and I know that that's just messing with people. And I know that the idea that there's not enough accountability is just messing with people, and it's just turning you up. And I do think that God, if God's going to speak to that, what He's going to say is, "It's okay. I got all this. It's all going to turn out fine.
Mm-hmm.
I know it looks scary right now. I know it looks like whatever, but trust me, I've got my hand on the wheel." Welcome to Beers with Jesus, everyone. Todd's World. I'm here. Todd, Carrie's here. And Jesus is here. The Bible's here, I guess. That's what we're here with. We're
Jesus is
drinking beers
always
with
here.
Jesus.
We have just joined him with beer.
We're just plugging in, right?
Yep.
So, what we do, guys, hopefully you caught the Wildly Opinionated News Hour. That was on yesterday. Todd's World, we drop 2 different podcasts during the week. We drop the Wildly Opinionated News Hour on Tuesdays, Beers with Jesus on Wednesdays. Our religion and politics, you could say.
I love it.
Politics, news, culture, whatever.
We talk about all the stuff they said in polite society you shouldn't talk about.
That's right. Talk about how we don't care about Savannah Guthrie. We don't care what happens to her mom. We don't care what happens to any of her family. No, I'm
You
just
don't want
kidding.
to open beers with Jesus like that. We actually do care about this stuff.
Yes. Well, we care on a macro level.
Yes.
You know, you don't want anything horrible to happen to people.
Right.
But, boy, they still haven't found anything on that. That just goes and goes and goes. That Guthrie's mom story is the gift that keeps on giving for
I
the
have
news.
not been following.
They just haven't found anything, I don't think. Like, I mean, they haven't found her. Like, that's the operative thing, I think, is,
Gotcha.
some kind of something, dead or alive. You'd think you'd like to have some kind of closure to what's going on,
No, right? So,
It just
Todd,
seems like they can't figure it out.
is Lent something that is observed in? I feel like last year we talked about
No,
this.
I told you, I only observe feast, not fast.
Okay. Lent
So I
is not
observe Fat Tuesday.
Lent is not in your
Mardi Gras.
wheelhouse.
No,
Shoot,
no,
it's
I'm
Fat
just-
Tuesday. We didn't really
Is
do
today
that.
Fat Tuesday?
It is.
Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't
We are
get a
recording
punchki
on
today.
Fat Tuesday.
We are. It's going to come out tomorrow,
Yep.
but I didn't get a punchki. That sucks.
Mardi Gras. Oh no.
I had like 4 of them a week ago, but
Okay, there you go.
I think that counts.
You pre-punchkied.
Nikki kept buying these boxes of punchkis from Family Fare, which aren't even as good as like a regular bakery around here.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
There's a bakery over by your mom's.
Now is that a
Sandy's.
sweet
It's
thing?
really good.
Is a punchki a
Yeah,
sweet
it's a donut.
thing? Oh, gotcha.
It's like a donut with like powdered sugar or frosting on it, and it's
yeah.
got something inside. And they come in all flavors. You can get raspberry, lemon, all the different things.
Ooh, nice. Lemon.
But that's kind of the classic, I think, Fat Tuesday New Orleans Mardi Gras thing. And they have king cake too that they do and everything.
True. I know we didn't do any
And
of
then you
that.
go into Lent, right? So
Yes.
today, Fat Tuesday's like the party day, and then Lent
Yep.
starts tomorrow.
Correct.
And then you got to decide on something to give up or to, I don't know
To
what
give
for
up
Lent.
or to do, and I mean, the point of giving something up for Lent is to replace it with something that is spiritually strengthening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, what would be an example of something?
So
like-
an example would be like instead of watching TV before bed, you would turn off the TV.
Instead of what before bed?
Oh, instead of watching TV
Oh,
before bed, you turn off the TV or not turn it on, and instead during that time, either
you'd watch Beers with Jesus?
do some, either read
That could be
like
something.
either read the Bible or do some sort of like devotional. Like our church hands out
like-
a
I feel like there
booklet.
should be some workbook involved if it's going to be
Well,
Lent approved.
no, but they hand out a booklet this year. They handed out a really nice booklet so you can do a daily devotional during Lent.
Okay.
I know there are people who
Because they know Catholics can't find their Bibles.
do an
They're like,
extra. Oh, God.
"This home. Maybe you can hold on to this for a month.
I wonder what would happen if I walked into the Catholic Church with my
I did.
Message Bible.
With that exact Bible. And Lauren was like, you don't need that here. We don't read that here. She said, especially the Message.
Oh
I
my
don't even know what
gosh,
that is.
that's funny. So yeah,
Well, that's fun. So yeah, I'm sure that
that's an example.
we have people of all stripes
Mm-hmm.
and different denominations, whatever, different flavors, I think, of faith and Christianity.
Right.
So
I mean, I feel like
no, I
Lent
think
is observed in like Methodists and Lutherans
probably
and
is.
Episcopal. But what
Just
about
not in Todd's.
not in Todd's world?
No,
Okay.
I should. There are occasions that I do things like that, but I haven't necessarily followed. I didn't grow up in a church that followed anything resembling the church calendar. I mean, other than
Got it.
Christmas and Easter, and
Okay.
that's pretty much the normal calendar. So
And this Lent is the 40 days before Easter
okay,
that are supposed to symbolize the 40 days of Jesus in the desert.
yeah.
So it's
this
a time of sacrifice.
would be the idea of
Mm-hmm.
Christ's temptation. Is that the thing?
Kind of, but just a time of sacrifice and reflection in preparation for.
Getting ready for the sacrifice. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can see how, like, we've been reading through Acts, and I mean, you can see how excited Paul was to get back to Jerusalem for the Feast of Pentecost. So those types of feasts and fasts and things seem to be pretty important to the early church.
Definitely.
So I didn't grow up. I grew up, whatever, real independent fundamental Baptist who thought that everybody else.
Had it
I don't
wrong.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
In varying degrees. But they just didn't. They weren't into, like, we never did Advent. I didn't know what the hell Advent was.
Oh, okay.
I still don't exactly know what all the candles are. I know there's different colors and different things, like love and peace and joy and
Yeah.
presents, maybe.
Again,
I'm not
it's
sure.
the 4 weeks. It's the four. It's just the 4 week joy. It's the 4 weeks before Christmas. But
Okay.
yeah.
So I didn't grow up doing that kind of thing. I do like it. I mean, I like the idea of it, but I haven't personally done
I
it.
like that it's this period of where if you are intentional about it, you're really preparing for something, which is nice. It's kind
Yeah.
of a time to refocus and yeah.
I like that too. That
Yeah.
may end up being something that I end up weaving into my life experience as I grow,
I
as
could
I
see
go
that.
along here.
Yeah. So
As I'm a
tomorrow,
little bit more exposed to the Catholic. Tomorrow's Ash Wednesday, right?
yeah, so tomorrow when you hit launch on this fabulous recording, just you could start tomorrow.
I can start tomorrow. I could get something on my forehead. Imagine the ash it would take to go from one.
I
I
don't
could
think
get a
it's,
big.
I
I
don't
could get a big ass cross on my forehead.
I don't think it's about coverage, but you could walk up and be like, I want it this big. Can you make it this big?
Like one of those WWE wrestlers.
One of my guys and I are going
Warrior.
early in the morning to do that.
Are you?
Yeah, and the other one couldn't get the day off of work tomorrow.
Did
So
you go and sit through like a little mass, like a daily mass, and
Yep.
then you go up and then they paint you? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
After they turn the bread into Jesus.
yes, exactly.
First.
The other one's going after work, and it's going to be a mob scene. I'm like, he goes,
Okay.
I'm going early. I said, okay. It's going to
That'll
be
be cool.
crazy. I know.
Well, we're in Acts 23. What we do on this show is we
Right.
just read through the Bible, which is, I don't know, works for us. We just kind of read through the Bible stories and we kind of explore them. And we enjoy it. Carrie compares it to book club. I don't know. Maybe.
I like
You guys
that
will have to
comparison.
decide if you've ever been in a book club. I'm too much of a man for a book club.
You got to come up with a more manly
A
term.
little more. The Todd
It's
father.
just a lecture. It's just a lecture, a Bible lecture on Todd's World.
There you go. So anyway, we are in Acts 23. We are storming through the book of Acts.
All right.
We started in Mark, which was the story of Jesus, shortest of the Gospels, the most action-packed, really, of the
Yeah.
Gospels. And then we got all
It's
the
the
we went all the way
shortest,
through
but
Mark.
we didn't treat it like the shortest.
No, we went through it. We took our time.
Yep.
the Acts we've made better time in, and Acts is the continuing story of Jesus. It's Jesus after his resurrection and his ascension, and he's sent his followers, his disciples out to take this new gospel to all the world and just tell them about that the kingdom has come. And we can rise again. Jesus rose again. He's the first fruits, and we can rise again with him. And we can enter into life from death. And so it's the continuing story of Jesus, is the continuing story of his first apostles in the early church. And we're dealing with Paul, who kind of dominates the second half of Acts and was the apostle to the Gentiles. So you had Jews and Gentiles. That's where that term comes from. If you weren't a Jew, you're a Gentile.
Okay, I was going to say a Gentile's just a non-Jew, right? Okay.
And so what Paul did, but the Jews were really, we talked about this last week, the Jews were really racist, and they were convinced, they were even worse than the Baptist I grew up with, they convinced that they were the only ones in the world who could know God, come to God. And they didn't want anything to do with this opening up. One of the things that Jesus did is he kind of took this truth and he opened it up beyond Jews and made the entire world, it's an open invitation to the whole world. And the Jews didn't like that. And Paul was the one who was going out taking this new gospel to the world, that as it was known then, Asia Minor, and he did these 3 missionary journeys and traveled around, planted all these churches. Now he's back in Jerusalem, and everywhere Paul goes, he causes problems. It's another kerfuffle, and they're always big ones, and they're always trying to kill Paul. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, he definitely has a target on his back.
So hold on. Sorry, my computer's being dumb.
I don't feel like it's through his fault, though.
No.
It's just his mission
we're gonna
is at
talk about
odds
that
with
today.
them, right?
Yeah. So we're in Acts 23.
Okay.
So we're continuing from Paul went back to Jerusalem against some prophecies and maybe some good advice that said, hey, if you go to Jerusalem, you're going to be in prison, which he ends up being. And some people told him not to go, but Paul felt like he should go. Here he is, and he was being pretty reasonable. He's just walking around. James, who was the bigwig in the Jerusalem church at the time, and James wanted Paul to kind of hang out with some Jewish believers so that these Jewish Christians would feel okay about Paul still liking Jews. Is kind of what it came down to, because they had all these reports. He's bringing in all these Gentiles and founding all these Gentile churches, and none of them liked that. They felt like, that's just how they grew up. It's hard to get past how you were raised. And so anyway, they see Paul there, and they start a riot. They want to kill him. And so the Roman captain who was in charge of that area takes Paul up, and now he's bringing them in. And what we're going to see is that so he was going to torture Paul. Paul's like, I'm a Roman citizen, so he can't imprison him. You can't just, like a U.S. citizen. You got to charge him with something. So beginning back just a verse in chapter 22, then we're going to read chapter 23. So chapter 22, verse 30 says, the next day, determined to get to the root of the trouble and know for sure what was behind the Jewish accusation, the captain released Paul and ordered a meeting of the high priest and the high council to see what they could make of it. Paul was led in and took his place before them. So what we're walking right into is this meeting of the high council of Jerusalem, the Sanhedrin. You've got the Pharisees and the Sadducees on either side. They're kind of like our Republicans and our Democrats a little bit. They're like two different parties. Like the Pharisees believed in the resurrection of the dead, and the Sadducees didn't believe in any of that. They didn't even really believe in spirits. They were very materialistic. I would say that you would, post the destruction of Jerusalem, the Jewish religion kind of moved in the Sadducees' direction, it seems like to me.
Interesting.
But the Pharisees, even though you saw them always going head to head with Jesus, it's because they truly did love the Bible and believe God, but they just couldn't see the fulfillment of it in Jesus. That's why he gets so frustrated with them. So Paul was a Pharisee. We're about to hear that. So here we are in Acts 23. Paul surveyed the members of the council with a steady gaze and then said his piece. Friends, I've lived with a clear conscience before God all my life, up to this very moment. That set the chief priest Ananias off. He ordered his aides to slap Paul in the face. Paul shot back, God will slap you down. What a fake you are. You sit there and judge me by the law and then break the law by ordering me slapped around. The aides were scandalized. How dare you talk to God's chief priest like that? Paul acted surprised. How was I to know he was the chief priest? He doesn't act like the chief priest. You're right, the scripture does say don't speak abusively to a ruler of the people. Sorry.
Do you think he said it like that?
I
Sorry.
don't know how genuine this was. Paul, knowing some of the council was made up of Sadducees and others of Pharisees, and how they hated each other, decided to exploit their antagonism. Friends, I am a stalwart Pharisee from a long line of Pharisees. It's because of my Pharisee convictions, the hope and resurrection of the dead, that I've been hauled into this court. The moment he said this, the council split right down the middle. Pharisees and Sadducees going at each other in heated argument. Sadducees have nothing to do with a resurrection or angels or even a spirit. If they can't see it, they don't believe it. Pharisees believe it all. And so a huge and noisy quarrel broke out. Then some of the religion scholars on the Pharisee side shouted down the others, "We don't find anything wrong with this man, and what if a spirit has spoken to him, or maybe an angel? What if it turns out we're fighting against God?" That was fuel on the fire. The quarrel flamed up and became so violent, the captain was afraid they would tear Paul apart, limb from limb. He ordered the soldiers to get him out of there and escort him back to the safety of the barracks. That night, the master appeared to Paul. It's going to be all right. Everything is going to turn out for the best. You've been a good witness to me here in Jerusalem. Now you're going to be my witness in Rome. Next day, the Jews worked up a plot against Paul. They took a solemn oath that they would neither eat nor drink until they had killed him. Over 40 of them ritually bound themselves to this murder pact and presented themselves to the high priest and religious leaders. We've bound ourselves by a solemn oath to eat nothing until we have killed Paul. But we need your help. Send a request from the council to the captain to bring Paul back so that you can investigate the charges in more detail. We'll do the rest. Before he gets anywhere near you, we'll have killed him. You won't be involved. Paul's nephew, his sister's son, overheard them plotting the ambush. He went immediately to the barracks and told Paul. Paul called over one of the centurions and said, "Take this young man to the captain. He has something important to tell him." The centurion brought him to the captain and said, "The prisoner Paul asked me to bring this young man to you. He said he has something urgent to tell you." The captain took him by the arm and led him aside privately. "What is it? What do you have to tell me?" Paul's nephew said, "The Jews have worked up a plot against Paul. They're going to ask you to bring Paul to the council first thing in the morning on the pretext that they want to investigate the charges against him in more detail. But it's a trick to get him out of your safekeeping so they can murder him. Right now there are more than 40 men lying in ambush for him. They've all taken a vow to neither eat nor drink until they've killed him. The ambush is set. All they're waiting for is for you to send him over." The captain dismissed the nephew with a warning. "Don't breathe a word of this to a soul." The captain called up 2 centurions. "Get 200 soldiers ready to go immediately to Caesarea. Also 70 cavalry and 200 light infantry. I want them ready to march by 9 o'clock tonight. And you'll need a couple of mules for Paul and his gear. We're going to present this man safe and sound to Governor Felix." Then he wrote this letter. "From Claudius Lysias to the most honorable Governor Felix. Greetings. I rescued this man from a Jewish mob. They had seized him and were about to kill him when I learned that he was a Roman citizen. So I sent in my soldiers, wanting to know what he had done wrong. I had him brought before the council. Turned out to be a squabble turned vicious over some of their religious differences, but nothing remotely criminal. The next thing I knew, they had cooked up a plot to murder him. I decided that for his own safety, I'd better get him out of there in a hurry, or out of here in a hurry. So I'm sending him to you. I'm informing his accusers that he's now under your jurisdiction." The soldiers, following orders, took Paul that same night to safety it's not Antipatus, it's Antipatris.
Antipatris or something, probably.
Something. I even heard it earlier and whatever. Anyway, I lost my place. In the morning, the soldiers returned to their barracks in Jerusalem, sending Paul on to Caesarea under guard of the cavalry. The cavalry entered Caesarea and handed Paul and the letter over to the governor. After reading the letter, the governor asked Paul what province he came from and was told Cilicia. Then he said, "I'll take up your case when your accusers show up." He ordered him locked up for the meantime in King Herod's official quarters.
Good job.
Woo! Wore out.
I know that
From
was
all that reading. That was the message, by the way, guys. We only read the message on here because it's the best. Because I like it the best.
Todd likes
And it's
it.
Todd's world.
It's his favorite.
I love the narrative flow, the narrative tone to it. Mm-hmm. So what'd you think, Carrie? You've been following us along in this story of Paul and the Jews, those Jews.
So I didn't know that the Pharisees and Sadducees were at odds with each other, because they're always lumped together in descriptions,
Yeah.
the Sadducees and the Pharisees, whatever. And they're mentioned together. So I didn't know until you said that before you read that they disagree about some things. So it sounds like the Sadducees are more literal, whereas the Pharisees...
More liberal, too, I would think.
Okay.
At least that's the way I would take it.
Okay. But the Pharisees believe in the supernatural.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I just found that interesting. And, Paul...
The Sadducees are the ones that come to Jesus, and they think they've got the Pharisees and the Sadducees always thought they had it all cooked up to where we got them this time.
Yeah.
And so they come to him with one of these questions. And one of the questions that they brought to him was, okay, there's a woman, and she's married to a man, and her husband dies. Mm-hmm. He's got 7 brothers. Mm-hmm. Well, in the Jewish culture, it was up to the brothers to marry the widow, and then they carried on the line.
Right.
Anyway, this chick goes through all the brothers. They all die.
I remember
marry
this.
her, die, marry her, die, marry her, die. And then they said, so,
It's
in
like
the
a
afterlife,
7-time widow.
whose wife will she be? And Jesus said, essentially, it was one of those times where he's like, you don't know God and you don't know how he works. But he said, there's no like marriage and giving in marriage in heaven. All our intimacies are with God. It's something along that line, is Jesus' answer. So it's the Sadducees who cooked that up. And what they're trying to portray is the sheer ridiculousness of the idea of an afterlife and a resurrection.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. They're creating an impossible scenario.
Right.
Right. So that's
It's
so
interesting that
funny.
Paul immediately hit that divide.
Yeah.
Like he knew
He was
he
really
was a Pharisee.
pretty savvy
my
about
guess
it.
is that probably a lot of these Pharisees probably knew Paul. He studied under Gamaliel or
Oh, that's right. No, I think that's right.
Yeah, and who was a famous Pharisee, a famous Jewish scholar, and it's hard to imagine that. And Paul was out doing these raids. He was persecuting the church. Like it seems like a lot of these guys probably knew Paul at one time. Now he's been gone a while and he's been doing things, but still they knew who this cat was. And probably he was friends with a lot of them at one point. I mean, it's not hard to imagine. If, like
Right.
say you had like a Catholic priest. He'd grown up Catholic and he'd been a Catholic priest. He always wanted to go to seminary. He's been in the pastorate and all these things. And all of a sudden he switches teams and he goes and does whatever.
Okay.
But point is that all of those friendships, all of those things from like 40 or 30 or 40 years of his life, like they're still there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And they're still like, there's a big part of that Catholic priest is still Catholic, even if he kind of turns away and does some other things, whatever. I think that's in Paul too. I think that's why it was so important for him to get back to Jerusalem, is because this was how he grew up. This was how he came into the faith, was through the Jewish religion, and so he immediately exploits that split between them.
Yeah, you're right. He does it immediately, and I think it's kind of funny. It's almost like taking the heat off himself. He's like directing them towards each other rather than
Yeah.
at him on the
And
hot
I
seat.
think that it's different too from how he responds in other, and we'll see that, the governor, Felix,
Oh
the
yeah.
governor.
Oh wait,
gonna,
sorry. I was thinking of the first the
but it's
chief
not
the
only
chief
that.
priest. Yeah.
There's been multiple times through our study in Acts where Paul has been confronted with crowds, or he's been placed places where they're judging him and they're saying, what's all this ruckus and what's this and what's that? And he always takes the opportunity to preach the gospel. That's kind of his default, right? But he doesn't do that here. And I think it's
No, he's very
because he
critical.
doesn't necessarily. Was it last week that he was told by God, because he really wanted to stay in Jerusalem. That was last week. When he first got saved, he expected that he was going to be the one to reach the Jews, because who better? Remember, he had this whole argument with God.
Yeah, like I have these credentials, like I'm perfect for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Paul understood it. God wasn't on the same page, so Paul was trying to help him.
I'm your man. I can do it. Yeah.
But it came to the point where God said, where God said that they aren't going to listen to you. Remember that? And that was just last week that we talked about that. It was when he was arguing with God, and sorry, I was looking for it again. And
No, that's okay.
I can't find it. But it's where God basically sends him out to the Gentiles, and it's because the fact of the matter is they're just not going to listen to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so he tells the whole story. They're bound to be trouble. Yeah, anyway, I can't find it. But the point is that I wonder if that's part of the reason that Paul didn't go into the gospel, is because he just believed God. And this was before he had left on his missionary journeys, before he'd gone out and he had established all these Gentile churches. And I wonder if because of that, he had come, and because of all the persecution he had been the victim of, and almost all of it was by Jews everywhere he went. So I think that he realizes the futility of who he's talking to, maybe.
Okay. You feel like it finally sunk in.
Well, I just think he thought these are the people who killed Jesus. I mean, these are the people that plotted with Judas to kill Jesus. I'm probably not going to make, and God's already told me they're not going to listen to anything that you say, you know? And so let's just get out of this. And he just goes full Pharisee, and it'd be like if you had an argument between like Republicans and Democrats. Republicans now, more the MAGA Republicans, and he was just like, I love Trump, and just takes sides, right? He just takes an entire side. Like, or vice versa. But anyway, he's identifying so strongly with that side, they immediately take him in. And they immediately come to his defense.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just because he's one of them. And apparently Paul
Right.
knew that that would work.
That's
I'm
cool.
sure
It was
Paul
very
knew
clever.
this. Paul knew this entire. Probably had been a member of it at some point, a member of the
Hmm.
Sanhedrin. I got a feeling he knew how to work this particular body, this particular
Right.
political religious body of people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
So they
I
took him
found that
in.
interesting.
I'm sorry. So the chief priest, is the chief priest a Pharisee?
I don't know if he was in this. My guess is he probably went back and forth depending on.
Okay.
I don't know how they determined who was who. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a scene that makes me curious, like what this was really like, because this translation, it just made me laugh. Like how
Well,
sassy he was. Like he really calls him out. There's so much
it
snark in
makes you
it.
wonder if Paul didn't have a whole lot of. Again, I'm going back to the point that these are the people that Paul like lived with, was
Hmm.
raised with, was educated with, and I got to. It could be he wasn't a big fan of this chief priest anyway. Maybe this guy had ascended to chief priest in the 15 or 20 years Paul's been away on his missionary journeys and things,
Hmm.
and he just didn't have a whole lot of respect for this guy anyway. And clearly that it was deserved. It was well deserved because the guy's just telling somebody to slap him, and for what
Right.
purpose? What got him so mad was all he said was, "I've lived with a clear conscience before God all my life up to this very moment." I mean,
Right? And he
could they not say
gets
the same?
slapped for it.
Right? What were they so? I don't know. I thought that was. It is an interesting exchange. It seems to me like Paul maybe did know because it says he acted surprised. I got a feeling Paul maybe did know this was the chief priest when he said that to him, but then he
Okay.
kind of gave him like the perfunctory, like,
Well, yeah, I feel like he was
"Okay,
being
that
sarcastic.
hurt your feelings.
Well,
Sorry."
I feel like he was being sarcastic, saying, "Oh, I didn't realize you were the chief priest because you're not acting like the chief priest." It's kind of that was how I
That's what
interpreted
he
that.
said,
Yeah.
and hard to argue with. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine going up like this is not just political. It is political, but it's also religious. It's all mixed together in
Mm-hmm.
the Jewish culture,
Right.
and it's this august body that like. I mean, listen, they're ruled by Rome, but they still have some of their own local governance in place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Are both the sides fairly legalistic, even though they have differing views on,
I
like,
believe that the Pharisees would be a lot more legalistic than the Sadducees.
okay.
I really think that kind of if you kind of think of it as like conservative and liberal in our basic kind of paradigms, I think that would get it close,
Okay.
you know. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
what did I have on here? What did I have written? I really thought that line, what if it turns out we're fighting against God?
Yes.
Like, that's a moment of revelation by somebody
Mm-hmm.
on this high council. You know what I mean? And they may have been doing it only because they perceive Paul to be on their team. But
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what caused them to say this, like, this is some straight out truth, you know? That
Absolutely.
that he's
Yeah, he
throwing into
says,
this thing that you don't know. Maybe you don't know God. Behind that idea is maybe you don't know God quite as well as you think you do. Maybe he's not quite so easy to pigeonhole. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm. So it was a religious scholar, or a group of scholars on the Pharisees' side
Yeah.
said, "We don't find anything wrong with this man. And what if a spirit has spoken to him, or maybe an angel? What if it turns out we're fighting against God?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think they realize they got played later on. Because as this story goes on, and we'll see, this kind of carries on. But they don't let this go. Like, we
Okay.
think, okay, my lord, they've got 400 soldiers and 70 cavalry. Like, how big of a group are they dealing with? How feisty are these Jews? He's got like a company taking Paul to this governor of Felix, you
Well,
know.
what do you mean, getting played? Like, because even though he's manipulating a little bit, I mean, the realization and the reason that they decide, well, I think the reason they decide to protect him is legitimate.
Well, it's a knee-jerk reaction because
Mm-hmm.
he's on their team.
Okay.
And that doesn't last, I don't think, that long. And I think
Okay.
they start to think, wait a minute. He's trying to burn down both our teams. You know what I mean? But in the moment, in the
Okay.
heat of the moment, Paul played him perfectly. I just think because of the fact that they go, I mean, they'll travel they're going to travel 5 days to see this governor and like lay their case out against Paul. And these guys who are out to kill him and took this, that doesn't like quit right away either. And it's just, there's a level of there's a level of antagonism towards Paul that's just a little shocking sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like,
Everywhere
I
he
wonder if
goes,
Paul
there's a
must have
plot to
been
kill him.
like Rush always used to say. He'd be like, "I'm just a guy in a golf shirt down in Florida." Like, I wonder if Paul was ever like, "Why do these people hate me so much?" God,
Right?
I went to school with them.
I'm qualified to tell them about this incredible like life experience I had.
I know.
So who knew? I know this is not where you thought I was going with this, but who knew that Felix was a name from the Bible?
Oh, you didn't know?
No.
I didn't know that.
You did?
I did. I knew this story though. I
It's
could've
because
pulled
you, yeah. You know the whole Bible, Todd.
it. I know it backward and forward. No.
No, I just thought that was kind of funny.
The Baptist church I grew up in, they spend a lot of time on the Bible. They'll be handing out Lent workbooks to take home for 40 days.
You just hand over the Bible. You got 40 days to read this.
Here, figure it out. There'll be a test on this later.
Yeah. So,
So I did think that. I just thought, why are the Jews so threatened by Paul? And then it occurred to me, I wonder if there's anything in our life, like in my life, maybe that I'm like that about, but maybe I don't realize. Like something
Okay.
comes in and to life, and like we're real threatened by it. You know what I mean? Like this is gonna ruin everything.
right.
Don't.
Yeah, like I don't know, like nutrition or lifestyle things that you suddenly find out are terrible for you. You're like, "Oh, man." I'm just trying to think of something
Well, I will say, and this is a pretty
shallow.
big one, but if you read my book, I'm going to promote my book, Leaves That Blew Away. It's available on soon, like within a couple weeks, you'll get it on toddsworld.net. All the books are going to be there. Everything will be there, and
Nice.
it'll link you to buy it. But great read.
So
But I
good.
went through time in my. I mean, this is if you read the book, this isn't like a big secret. But so I was kind of engaged in like a torrid affair, and for a while. Well, that I remember there being times where when I was in that state, where I did feel a little bit defensive against maybe the Christianity or Jesus that I had grown up with, and I was always kind of keeping. I felt like there was a lot that he could ruin. I know that sounds crazy. I understand it's all upside down. Now I understand that, but at
Right.
the time I
But
didn't
when
see
you're
that.
in it,
And
yeah.
at that time, I would have been real threatened by any kind of like church stuff, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, any kind of moral
Yeah.
stance that would go against this,
Because I felt like
thing
I had a
that
lot
you
to
were doing.
protect, And I think these guys were kind of the same, not in the same exact way, but it's the same kind
Right.
of thing where they feel like they've got a lot invested. And even if it's wrong, that doesn't matter because I've already invested this much. You know what I mean?
You're right. You mean they've invested all of this into what they believe, and here comes someone to
And
shake
to
it up.
them, it doesn't look like a fulfillment. It doesn't look like Jesus came to fulfill the law and the Jewish culture and the Jewish religion like Paul presents it. Paul presents it like he came to fulfill it. But they don't look at it that way. They just see the destruction. You know what I mean? They can't see
Right.
what the destruction leads into. They can't see
Yeah.
the further growth of the gospel, I guess is a way to put it. And they're just so I mean they'll go to the mat to try to stop to try to just kill this guy. It's almost like they got with Jesus, where like everything is, and I'm not saying Paul and Jesus are the same, but like they're so hyper focused. Like if we can just get him, we'll stop it.
Yes. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
how you feel like they think.
No, I think
you
you're
know?
right. Yeah, like the head of the snake,
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, not only are they, not only, oh, I was going to try to say what after you were talking about it, not Jesus not being like this fulfillment. Well, not only was he unexpected, he didn't fit the impression that they had, but also Paul, who's delivering this message, is the one who's like broken away. Oh, I know. I was going to say too, not only are they so entrenched,
Yeah.
additionally, they're entrenched in their ways, their teachings, their traditions, that anything outside of that can't be right. And the fact that Paul was with them, broke away, and is now trying to tell them that he has the right answer, I think it's just almost seems implausible to them.
Probably does.
Yeah. It's like this guy, we have it all figured out. We've been doing it this way forever. This guy breaks away and thinks he's discovered the answer. It's like, nah.
C.S. Lewis talks about how a lot of times, even when it comes down to like the gospel, like say one member of a family discovers the gospel, a lot of what you deal with is just flat out like kind of baseline jealousy. It's like if a person from a family, he says it the way C.S. says it, from a lowbrow family suddenly gets into serious music, like classical music. There's this, not only is there a reaction in the other family members, but part of it is, why should they see something valuable in it that we don't?
Yeah.
Why should they get to see that and we don't? It doesn't make any sense to us. You know what I mean? And I think there's probably part of that too.
Definitely. And beyond that, like, why should Paul see this? I mean, that's not even entertaining the idea that if Jesus is the real deal, why was Paul chosen to be following him? Why wasn't it me or us or something? Yeah.
Surely if Jesus was the real Messiah, the vast majority of this high council here would have recognized. I mean, we're all good Jews.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't miss it. And that's how they thought. I mean, it really is. Which in a way is not much different than what we think about a lot of, or how we approach a lot of things.
I think so. You know what? We criticize them, but you saying that, it's like, yeah, we're pretty.
We can get dyed in the wool and want our own boxes, want to stick God in our own boxes, and be really, really resistant to yanking God out of those boxes. You know what I mean? That's a real tough pull for people. And and that's why I was talking about this weekend. My good friend Will was over, and we kind of hung out for the weekend. We've talked about the Steve Gregg. He's a Bible teacher in the Three Views of Hell, but I could see he's dealing with some really fundamental things, and as he's teaching through this, I could see, and not only could I see it, I could tell from Will talking about it that some things are getting messed with that are kind of like some boxes that he liked having to be able to organize things. And I know what he's talking about because I dealt with the same thing, albeit a long time ago because I'm a lot smarter. But no, I'm just kidding. Just for Will.
That's funny.
But that's the thing is you could see how we hold on to those boxes. I think what it is, this is a theme that we circle around over and over and over again because I think it's true. I think to us, the boxes that we put God in, they become God. There isn't any God without that kind of boxed up. You know what I mean? Like
right.
That's what we know. That's where God works. That's how He is.
It's
just
how
like that.
Yeah. It's how we're wired. We're just wired. It's not. We don't set out to limit God or to be arrogant and say that we understand His mysteries, but we are just wired to categorize, sort, put in order. Like it's just
institutionalized.
Sure. Right. We like structure, and I mean God's a mystery. So how do you wrap your human understanding around a mystery? So
You start boxing them up.
Yep. Box it up.
Well, this is how He is here. Oh, that's over there. That's in that warehouse. We've seen Him do that before, but He doesn't work like that now. So the thing I want to end with is just, I think, how cool it is that the night that Paul's dealing with all this crazy, And now listen, he was prophesied to. He was warned that it was going to get a little nuts in Jerusalem, and he went anyway. So,
Yep.
but it says that night the master appeared to Paul. It's going to be all right. Everything is going to turn out for the best. You've been a good witness for me here in Jerusalem. Now you're going to be my witness in Rome. Just that God shows up to Paul at that time where he's been wanting to get back to Jerusalem. Like, this is probably kind of emotional for Paul. Like, these are his friends that are, or
Right.
some of them, surely, people people he grew up with, who want to kill him.
Remember, remember when we were in the Gospel of Mark, and Jesus returns? Is it to Nazareth?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, why are you?
And he couldn't,
Like
yeah,
they
he
don't
couldn't
get
do
him.
many miracles there, it says, because of their unbelief. They didn't believe. They were like, this is just Mary's son.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like we know you. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I know it's not exactly the same, but it just
No, it is
reminded me of that
comparable.
when you said, because I think we talked about how disappointing that must have been. So Paul might be going through some of that same disappointment.
And the fact that God shows up in that disappointment, he shows up into the mess, and he just encourages him, and he just says, just listen, it's all going to be cool. It's all going to be okay. It's all going to turn out for the best. I'm going to take this. I know there was different prophecies and there was different things, and you kind of thought I was sending you some mixed messages, but right now where you're at, I'm going to take this and this is going to work. You know what I mean? And it's just
Yeah.
that encouragement. And it's like when God comes to us, because, I mean, life can get long. It can be a struggle. You know what I mean? Like there's times where you're
Really,
just
Todd?
tired and you're just like, I just,
Sometimes you're just tired.
you know
Sometimes
what I
it's
mean? And
just
so
a
it's
lot.
encouraging that God will show up, or that he shows up even here, and we can see what he says to Paul, and we can hear him speaking to us, and he's just like, it's cool, man. It'll be all right. You know?
So do you think it was God or was it Jesus who showed up? I
Probably
wish.
Jesus. It says the master. I mean,
Okay, I was
probably was
curious.
Jesus.
I want like more info. Jesus just shows up with a beer and says,
Well, he says that night, the master. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
probably a lot like the Beers with Jesus chapter in Witness. Probably almost exactly.
"Definitely go read that, you guys."
So anyway,
Yeah.
I just wanted to end on that. A little bit of encouragement, you know,
Yeah,
because it can feel like things just sometimes when you're in the mess and like in the jumble of everything, it can kind of feel you can start to doubt yourself. You can start to doubt God too, but you can certainly start to doubt some of your own choices and some of you. Did I hear God right? You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Like I thought,
I knew I had to go to Jerusalem. What is going on?
right? Well, and
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and sometimes it's not supposed to go smoothly too, because we have stuff to learn.
You reckon? Not what they tell you in those workbooks?
I guess. Does that sound like a workbook lesson? I'm just going from life experience.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe we don't need a workbook for that one.
No, but yeah, it is
Well, it's good.
encouraging.
All right,
Encouraging
guys,
to-
I think we did pretty good on this one. We're just marching through the story. There's only 28 chapters in Acts.
Oh my gosh, we're like
So we've
almost
only got
done.
5 left.
Wow.
I say 28. I think it's 28. Pretty sure it's 28. Yeah, it's 28.
Okay. Oh my
See, I
goodness.
started to doubt myself. God was like, no, it's cool. It's 28. Just read the message. You'll be fine.
I hope people
anyway,
enjoy
guys.
us as we, I hope they enjoy our humor as we intend.
I hope you take out of this that everything's going to be okay. Our world right now, we deal with it all the time in news.
Right.
It's kind of chaotic. It's a little
Yeah.
bit of a mess. You could look at things and you might think, like, you look at all this crazy, the evil that's coming out in this Epstein stuff. And I know that that's just messing with people. And I know that the idea that there's not enough accountability is just messing with people. And it's just turning you up. And I do think that God, if God's going to speak to that, what he's going to say is, it's okay. I got all this. It's all going to turn out fine. I know it looks scary right now. I know it looks like whatever, but trust me, I've got my hand on the wheel. You know what I mean? No matter
Definitely.
what's going on. There's been a lot of things that have happened over the last 2,000 years of world history, and God has somehow gotten his church through all of it. So I
Isn't
expect
that
he'll
true?
continue, you know?
Yeah.
And it's good to hear that. It's good to lean into that. I personally, when I'm going through those times, I'll have certain Psalms that I read where I'm like, I know that those Psalms, like, I know that I can find encouragement there because I found it there before. And maybe that's
Definitely.
part of what's helpful about reading and getting to know the Bible is that you know where to go when those storms are starting to hit. You kind of know where those harbors are, where God's like, "Hey, don't worry, I've done this before. I got
Exactly.
this."
Exactly.
Because it's hard to trust sometimes. It's hard to trust and obey that simple song, you know.
It is. So the last 2 days, yesterday and today, they're doing the major work under my house.
Oh,
And I've
the
been
crawl
working
space work.
working from home while they're doing it. And every now and then I just feel this overwhelmed feeling about like all the things that could go wrong and all the whatever. And it's like last yesterday and today I've just been giving it to God. Just been like
See,
and you know what? I've
he
been fine.
takes
I'm
it.
like, it's gonna be fine. That's exactly what it has felt like. It's gonna be fine. Everything will be okay.
It's nice when you finally let it go. When we finally
It
let
is.
the illusion, the
Mhm.
illusion of any control at all that we like to hold on to,
Yes, that's true.
when we finally let that go, there is comfort to be found there, and that is encouraging. So,
Definitely.
all right, guys. Well, I think
Thank
we did it,
you.
Carrie.
Thanks, Todd.
We got through another week somehow. We're off schedule, guys. It's Fat Tuesday. We
It
should be
is
eating
Fat Tuesday.
punchkis.
That's right. I like the verb. You pre-poochkied.
I did. I
Yeah.
really wanted to get some good ones though, and again,
Just didn't get it.
not
Will
paying any
anyone have
attention to
any?
the
Will
church calendar or
Will
going to a
anyone
church that
have?
follows it.
Will anyone have like day old punchkis tomorrow?
Probably. They'll probably still have some fresh ones. I don't know.
Hope so.
But yeah.
Good luck finding them.
It's like once you're past it, you know.
Yeah.
Like I've got some eggnog here that's still left over from Christmas I never opened,
It's
and it's
pro-
still good.
oh,
And I
because it's not
thought,
opened yet.
do I want to open eggnog this far from Christmas?
You, you better do it before it gets warm out, because that will be weird.
I don't have much. I think I've got like 4 days left on the expiration.
I'm surprised it's good
Trying
that
to
long.
decide.
What is that
I know,
made
makes you
of?
wonder. It's probably that cancer causing stuff RFK talks about. Get a little cancer with your eggnog. Okay, guys. We've wandered further afield.
That's what we do. It's all right. That's funny.
All right, guys, listen. If you haven't listened to news this week, go listen to the Wildly Opinionated News Hour. Catch us next week for Beers with Jesus. Thank you for joining us. Check out clips. Send a link to friends. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, X.
We're about to explode on
Everywhere.
YouTube.
We're about to explode now that I know how it works.
We've just learned.
It occurred to me to study it for a minute.
Yeah. We're going to be
All right,
huge.
guys.
Thank you.
Harry, thanks for joining me today. We will be back next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, guys.